let me ask you something. What kind of person accidentally spells out a hit on the president using shells on the beach? And not just any person, but the former FBI director, James Comey. He just posted this photo yesterday, captioned cool shells formation on my beach walk. But as you can see, the shells are laid out 86 and 47. And now that the Secret Service caught wind of this, they definitely are getting involved. I'm going to walk y'all through why this is not a coincidence and how this may go a lot deeper than what you think. Let's unpack this for a second, though. 86 is common law it's common law enforcement slang, it says, and it means to eliminate, cancel, or kill. And 47, obviously, is Trump, right? So this brings about questions. Why would a former FBI director even use coded numbers in the first place and post it like this? Unless he knew exactly who was watching. Some are saying maybe this wasn't a signal for the public. This was a signal to the insiders. I don't know what to believe right now. However, how can Comey say he didn't know what the 86-47 meant? Like, how could he act so oblivious to that? Donald Trump, my guy, he decided to respond to this today, and it's nothing short of Trump. It's nothing short of Trump-like fashion.
Exactly what that meant. A child knows what that meant. If you're the FBI director and you don't know what that meant assassination. And it says it loud and clear. Now, he wasn't very competent, but he was competent enough to know what that meant. And he did it for a reason, and he was hit so hard. Because people like me, and they like what's happening with our country. Our country has become respected again, and all this. And he's calling for the assassination of the president.
Obviously, he apologized and said he
well, he
wasn't calling
for
violence. But
look, he's a very bad.
What do you want to see happen?
What
do you want to see happen?
I don't want to take a position on it because that's going to be up to Pam and all of the great people. But I will say this: I think it's a terrible thing. And when you add his history to that, if he had a clean history, he doesn't. He's a dirty cop. He's a dirty cop. And if he had a clean history, I could understand.
I said, arrest him. Put that man in some cuffs. He deserved jail time. Here's the real question, though. What if it was a Trump supporter who posted 86-46 when Biden was in office? Y'all think that the media would be, screaming this is innocent in some sort of way? Just an innocent number? Or do you think it's going to be reported plastered everywhere as this domestic terrorist? It's going to be on every network. This is the elite's favorite game. Said in code, denied in public. You get protected by the press. Says a lot about our system. Anywho, like I said, the Secret Service is now paying a visit to James Comey after the now deleted post.
Kash Patel, as we were coming to air, the new FBI director, one of Comey's successors, is saying that he is in touch with the Secret Service and they are going to be sending Secret Service agents to talk to James Comey. Kash Patel, as
Now, you don't delete a post unless you're caught on something or unless you feel like you're about to get caught on something. You got other reasons. Could be, ugly side profile or front, but I don't think that was the case. And you don't get a visit from the Secret Service unless your words are serious. Not serious, serious. Sorry, y'all. Whew. Throw a little issue today. But what if this post was a test? I'm going to hit y'all with that thought. What if this was some sort of test to see how much they can get away with right in front of our faces? I mean, they've been doing it forever. Let's move on, y'all. Let's read this. We're aware of the recent tweet by former FBI Director James Comey, directed at President Trump. We are in communication with the Secret Service and Director Curran. Primary jurisdiction is with SS on these matters, and we, the FBI, will provide necessary support. I'm ready to see something happen. I'm ready to see something happen right now. Because, I mean, that wasn't by coincidence, in my opinion. You got the political climate going crazy right now. The Democrats are wrapping up these race wars and all this other stuff. They can't seem to get Donald Trump on anything. So here we go. Another assassination attempt. Joyce posted, does former FBI Director Comey really want us to believe that he didn't know what it meant? 86 and 47 it is. See if we can read this. Pull this to the side. This is his apology. I'm sorry, y'all. You ain't gonna see a few words. But he says, I posted earlier a picture of some shells I saw today on a beach walk, which I assumed were a political message. I didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind. So I took down the post. Let me see if I can see it like this, maybe. Nope, that's even worse. I don't buy this excuse. You really want me to believe that? I agree with George on this. I mean, this is the same guy who ran surveillance programs. I'm sure he knows the meaning of every code in the book. I don't know. He's not playing dumb because he's clueless, in my opinion. He's playing dumb because he know the Democrat media will cover for him. Now, Tulsi Gabbard actually came through and just issued a call to action. I'm sorry. James Comey just issued a call to action to murder the president of the United States. As a former FBI director and someone who spent most of his career prosecuting mobsters and gangsters, he knew exactly what he was doing, and he must be held accountable under the full force of the law. We fully support the Secret Service investigation into Comey's threat on President Trump's life. Y'all, let's check this out. Get y'all right in pocket. There we go. Bow.
Tulsi Gabbard's the director of national intelligence. Are you buying that the former FBI director didn't know what 86 Trump meant?
Absolutely not, Jesse. That is a ridiculous and insane statement to make, certainly within this context, but especially coming from a guy who's the former director of the FBI, a guy who spent most of his career prosecuting mobsters and gangsters, people who know and execute other humans and use this exact lingo of 86. Comey himself admitted in his follow-on message that he knew that this was a political statement. Well, the only reason he knew that, Jesse, was because a little over a month ago, a bunch of anti-Trump, anti-Elon Musk protesters were proliferating the use of this 8647 slogan, which was a veiled call to action to murder the sitting president of the United States. So for Comey to think that we, the American people, are so stupid as to think that he, as a former FBI director, former prosecutor, and someone who clearly pays attention to what's going on, would believe his lie that he didn't know what this actually was calling for?
Exactly. Imagine if Trump posted anything remotely close to this. It would not be taken as a joke. And the media, definitely Democrat media, is never going to show him grace. They're going to throw the book at him. Oh, he inciting violence.
The dangerousness of this, Jesse, cannot be underestimated. When we have 2 assassination attempts on the president's life, when we have people who look to guys like Comey, who've been celebrated by MSNBC and the Democrat elite and CNN as the beacon of integrity, the law and order guy, the guy who would tell the truth no matter what the consequences. This is the guy who's issuing a hit on President Trump, the president that the American people voted for. So it's guys like Comey and others who call the president the modern day Nazi, people who are in great positions of influence, who are saying that President Trump poses an existential threat to our country. These are people who hate democracy and hate the American people because they cannot stand that the people overwhelmingly chose to elect Donald Trump and send him back to the White House. So they are seeking other means to get their way and to try to remove him from that position.
Yep, but let me say this. Because it's Comey, because he's one of them, they're going to try to act like it's just shells on sand.
How serious is the administration taking this, and what are the next steps going to be?
We're taking this very seriously. As you mentioned, the Department of Homeland Security, and specifically Sean Curran, the current Secret Service director, a man who has been willing to lay down his life as the lead of President Trump's Secret Service detail for years now. He takes this seriously and is leading the investigation into this threat. There has to be accountability for this. There was a Rutgers study that just came out a little over a month ago, Jesse, that asked respondents their view on these calls to assassinate President Trump. And over 55% of respondents felt that murdering President Trump would be, quote unquote, somewhat justified.
Wow.
This is the effect of people like James Comey doing this kind of stuff. This study also pointed out that there is a quote unquote assassination culture that is starting to take over the views of what they call the extreme left. We, the American people, cannot take this lightly. Whatever your politics, we cannot allow people to get by without being held accountable for this kind of public call to assassinate the President of the United States.
Do you believe that Comey is goading you guys to come after him because he wants to be a political martyr? He wants to be set up so he can say, oh, look, we were right. Donald Trump is...
What if this wasn't meant to go viral? But like I said earlier, what if it was meant to reach somebody specific in some sort of intelligence circles? I mean, think about it. Comey posted like almost like a breadcrumb. Then he deletes it. It goes viral. You know, what was the message really for?
He's a dictator. They're coming after
Who? I'm sorry.
After me. They're arresting me. They're interrogating me. I was just using my free speech.
You know,
I'm going to rewind it so y'all can get a clear understanding of the question.
Him because he wants to be a political martyr. He wants to be set up so he can say, oh, look, we were right. Donald Trump is a dictator. They're coming after me. They're arresting me. They're interrogating me. I was just using my free speech.
You know, whatever his intent, I will tell you that there is a guy in Georgia who was issuing threats on my life about a month ago, and he's in jail today. He has been indicted with a crime, as he should have been, and he is in jail as we speak. So whatever James Comey intent, he and people like him need to be held to account according to the law, which is something that he claims to have given his life for and stands by the rule of law. Fantastic. The rule of law says people like him who issue direct threats against the President of the United States, essentially issuing a call to assassinate him, must be held accountable under the law.
Do you believe Comey should be in jail?
I do. Any other person with the position of influence that he has, people who take very seriously what a guy of his stature, his experience, and what the propaganda media has built him up to be, I'm very concerned for the president's life. We've already seen assassination attempts. I'm very concerned for his life. And James Comey, in my view, should be held accountable and put behind bars for this.
Director Gabbard, thank you so much.
Makes you also wonder, like, how many other coded messages have been posted that kind of went under the radar. Like, you know, the people in power kind of see it, but... You know, how many jokes, symbols, numbers, random numbers? You know, the ones that slip because we weren't supposed to catch. That's what makes me go, bro, this is just some corrupt-ish. You got to think about this, too. If this is how bold the Democrats are becoming outside of the office, imagine if they were to get back to power. That's the real scary part. I'll say this. Comey's post was not a mistake. I don't think so. It was a message. One that was seen, decoded, and it is now being investigated. Can't wait to see the updates on that. But, you know, let's not get too distracted here. This ain't just about Comey. It's about the system, the Democrats that protect these type of people, even when they push the needle. You know what I mean? When they cross the red line, as Dollar Store Obama says. I'm telling you, man. Somebody else, they be in handcuffs, but they get headlines and protections. Oh, my God. I want y'all to do me a favor, though. Let me know in the comments right now if you believe Comey knew what 8647 meant. Y'all be safe. Please go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life.